Hello, and welcome to this episode. Or, well, not really an episode. It's more going to be like me kind of talking about, I guess that some of the things I've been through, and kind of, I guess, in a way, the backstory, regarding like this channel and like how, I don't know, like all of these things tie together, kind of like my own like life's journey, my healing journey, but also the channel itself, and kind of like, what I'm working towards, and kind of what I'm all doing, and how this all kind of connects together, and kind of like how all of this informs each other, and like what in that sense, like what I'm really doing with a lot of it, and like why kind of like certain things are there, and I kind of want to say though, from the very beginning here with this, like what I'm going to talk about first is going to be very much about some of the things that I've been through, throughout my life and all that. And it's not going to be, it's not going to be for the faint of heart. So if you don't have just you might want to skip ahead, towards the healing part before. Just skip ahead if that might not be for you to hear some of these things, because they're not the most easy things to talk about or listen to as well. To kind of understand, like, that it's not going to be the easiest. So you might want to skip ahead if it's not for you. But that aside, like, kind of like delving into it. So you're seeing here this picture of this willow tree here. Well, there's kind of willow trees there. And for me, it's just for me it's just kind of like something from childhood. At some point where I would go to, it's close to a graveyard that in the village that I grew up in, and like a lot of the experience in childhood, but a bit later too, like teenage years and such, were really marked by all a sense of, like, I guess, emptiness or like emotional isolation in some sense, and later on kind of more isolation in of itself. And in a way older video, I talked about how, one friend of mine, like that I, well, let's be honest, like had some feelings for as well at the time, died when I was rather young. And I guess at the time of making that like personal myth video, I had not really connected to these emotions yet. So now I talk about it in a very brainy manner, but there's been much change since, and I kind of want to go into these different experiences more, and some of it, like not in depth, like I don't feel like it's too necessary regarding that. But what is kind of important though is like how it kind of sets the stage in a way for everything else that I'm doing, and what I have done in a way. And yeah, so as a kid, at some point, like before that, like, because I used to be like it's like a little kid. I think like from I think I was age 5, 6, something like that, till later, still during teenage years too, would be like, yeah, bullied. Like there were fights and like beating up and stuff happening, which really like led me to hide a lot. And at some point, I kind of felt like not going outside anymore and just feeling pretty lost, and like didn't really have anywhere to go with it either, because there's not really space for emotions at my home, and kind of like this sense of emotional isolation very much. And then at some point I found this kind of willow grove, how I call it. It's close to the graveyard where also the friend that had died had was buried. And yeah, maybe in a way it's just also just that, like, yeah, because she's been there, or had been, and had died in that accident, that it was just like not an easy period in that sense. And I guess like the grove made me feel, it's kind of like a moment of like solitude or like safety together there, where nothing would happen. And because most kids wouldn't go there, they wouldn't spend time close to the graveyard. Yeah, so it was kind of like that kind of space for me, but it kind of, I guess, also felt more connected still to to her that had died. And kind of reminds me too of like, well, the other place too, and like when I was like a teen that I used to go to. It's like this particular Chinese garden that's close to one high school that I went to. At some point, I would after I discovered it, because I spent a lot of time like just mostly like trying to just stay away from people, but it was very much like a sanctuary space for me. They had tea there too, and Chinese music and Japanese music playing there, and a lot of like traditional Asian things going on there. Also like dragons and bonsai trees, and it was generally like a nice nature kind of sanctuary for me. And I guess in that way, like that connection with nature has kind of always been very important for me in that way. Like to find like solace in it. And in that sense, you can see in some of those videos I talk about, like, sacred groves and sanctuary, and like with the Orctea, and like a lot of these things in the connection to nature, and I guess like the shamanism, the animism, just very like like stems out of that early connection to it as well. Even though nature, as I've learned personally, has a very different side as well, not just in the sense of sanctuary, and that's kind of going deeper into, well, another experience as well, that occurred, and it's kind of at a time where I was starting to, I guess, like, I wasn't completely doing okay at the time, like back in 2013 when this happened, and I was kind of like, because I got away from the situation and from the place where I used to live, and I was there in Germany, in Bad Schandau. It well, it allowed a lot of these emotions to come up, and at the time, like, I had no idea like what was going on or why I was feeling the way, and like it was very kind of overwhelming for a while, and then I managed to get some sense of stability after I had been in the hospital, and then I had like these anxiety pills that I had, and then and I was trying to do these tour guides still in nature, but that didn't really go well. Because I had like at some point like I just couldn't really do much because I had these fainting spells and all, and yeah, my body wasn't really like coping with a lot of these things pretty well. And then and then the day happened of the flood, and I kind of still remember that that day of like walking down the place where I was staying. It was a little bit more uphill. I was like walking down, and then when I was like getting closer to the water and to the bridge, I started to see like how it was rising quite a lot, and I was just like, okay, this is bad. This is very, very bad. And I had like these anxiety pills with me because I was kind of like going through all of this already, and yeah. So I took a bunch of them, and I just went down there, and I was just like, okay, well, in we go, I guess. And because all the idea was to go to work at that point to the office, but then it was pretty much like chaotic. There was like firefighters and police like trying to evacuate everyone from the place, and it's pretty much chaos. I remember like still managing to get like money from the bank, like some cash, to be able to, because I kind of figured, well, I have to. I mean, with what is going on and with like the flood that I had seen, because I was in the office building and someone had shared like a graph with like how it was rising, and the dude was just to me like, yeah, like this is gonna get pretty bad, and in that sense it did at some point. It like really was like rising a lot, and you can see it here, but also in this image too, like the water was like not really at some point, like it really started to get like pretty wild, and was getting wilder and wilder, and then there was somewhere the water was still going up, and it wasn't like a strong current yet, but I was just seeing like, yeah, no, I have to get out of here. But then I saw like also this one person, that it was like a coworker of mine, and yeah, she was pretty like in a state of like, she was pretty frozen, and she didn't know what to do, and kind of in a state of panic. And I mean, I had taken these pills, so I was kind of like, I guess like I managed to suppress all that anxiety with it, but like I then managed to stay calm enough to get me and her out of there, and to get her to focus, and to get her out of there, and also some other people too, that like to get them to help them to focus, and to get them to safety before I then myself at the end left. And because I was like to them, like, we only have like 40 minutes left before this thing goes to hell, like before it went to, well, this, and like the whole like train track and the bridge and everything would be like flooded, and like we would be stuck there. And but yeah, then I managed to get out, and eventually like I did that on that one train. That's the last one that like they were evacuating, and I managed to get on board of it, and then to get out. But I remember like at the time. At the time, like it didn't really do much, and I really had like disassociated from it, or like repressed these memories regarding it because of all what happened, and also the fact that like 15 people died in the incident as well, and one of which was someone I knew and like worked with in the office as well. And we just had to we happened to, or like me and this coworker happened to had a fight the night before, and they had left, and they went down to the ship to get across the river, and they were pretty mad at me. And then I've kind of dealt, because they went down, and no one knew what happened to them, and it for me, like for some, I don't know, for years and years, I would kind of like blame myself for it, and just felt this sense of guilt that like, well, I made it out of there and they didn't, and like how all of it kind of ended on this fight, and in this sense of like that they went down to the river at night when it was already going bad. And then I had seen too in the train that the ships they were using, these small boats, these vessels, were like taken by the river. And just all that. And I suppose at some point a lot of the fallout from that was very much just like the I guess the continued like emotional isolation, because I just really didn't know like who to turn to, or like how to deal with it. And so for a long while, I really didn't. It was like from 2013 to 2020, and I would just be having like these like flashbacks, or like these panic attacks on trains, because it kind of like reminded me every time of it. And I would go to work a lot with trains, and would have a lot of like anxiety and panic attacks on it, and people would have to calm me down, especially when it was crowded, because at the time a lot of people were trying to get on that train to get away for obvious reasons. And and in a way, like it always reminded me of that, till like in 2020 I had like this breakdown moment where like I just couldn't deal with it anymore, and like the burden kind of felt like too much to still carry. And it's really like that moment where I was just pleading to the gods just to end me. It was feeling so overwhelming that I just didn't know how to make through it. And I felt like super lost, and just didn't know what the way out was. And then there were some people that I talked to at the time that I managed to reach out to, and like that like helped a lot for me. And then and it really like then gave me like the courage to reach out to well, like like this therapist that I had then talked to after. And I talked to this therapist for a while, and then eventually like I created the Fox 10 community that I have. And in a way, like the community that I've created is very much like a creation, I guess, like initially for myself, to create that space, but it's really like grown into this space for other people as well, that are going through things, and where we can like talk and share about our experiences. But we also dive into all these different topics that we do on the podcast as well, that we're interested in. And I guess regarding the title from pain to purpose, it's kind of like to turn off this that me and other people have been through into something meaningful, and to like turn it into something positive in that sense, and my own healing journey really has been part of that as well. In the creation of, I guess, the creation of the podcast had something to do with it, like to help myself and others to have this voice, to talk about things, maybe not directly about what they went through, but to at least in some sense give them a voice regarding at least their interests and their perspectives, to for them to build that courage to in their own lives to open up about like their perspectives and experiences, but also the community itself, and all this, like what I talk about regarding shamanism and all that. It's very much tied to my own healing journey as well. And it's kind of like that whole like Curios thing is very much connected to it as well, and I guess the archetype at some point too, and and you can see here my shaman drum as well, and it's the kind of like this Curios kind of like archetype was like calling out to me at some point. It was like already before 2020, and then I just went on this like journey, and then was delving into like shamanism and these things, and it was kind of really to find a way to heal, to work through my experiences, and to get like to the place that I'm now, in that sense of I guess like more healed than I was before, like I guess with the Curious archetype also very much to re-empower myself, to not like be in this state of being that I was, where I kind of felt very all powerless regarding what had all happened, because there's not much you can do regarding a flood or all these experiences, and it is very much like a very overwhelming experience to go through, and in that sense, and with the Fox then as well, and and what I'm doing with sharing, it's very much to share the things that worked for me, and to share about like the things I'm interested in, and that have kind of helped me in my healing journey as well. Like that, hence all this Proto-Indo-European stuff and all that I'm looking into, that about the the groves connected to nature, this nature connection, but also very much the in that sense. Well, these rituals as well, because I use these rituals myself to heal and to use the shamanic journeying to go into the depths of the psyche, to go into the depths of myself, to very much to face it. And facing it, I can say, through shamanic journeying, or even if you do it in therapy, it's not an easy experience to go through, because there's a lot of emotions there that come up, and you can see it also, like for instance in that one shamanic journey that I talked about, that example of mine. It's like the extremeness and the roughness of it is kind of like a reflection of kind of the things I've been through, and that's kind of like what tends to come up too when you journey. It's like if you journey and you do this sense of soul retrieval, you will experience what what's there, what the unconscious brings up, if you journey for that kind of purpose. Because there's different purposes for journeying, and there's like, I guess, pleasant journeys as well that you can have, but when it comes to such experiences, it can be pretty fear-inducing, overwhelming, and also really bring up all these emotions that one was feeling as well. And but I really also feel, though, with the sense of the journeys I've done and all this work I've done, all these psychological complexes I worked through, that have formed out, because of all this stuff I had been through. It really like also, guess it's really like the processing of it that helped me to gain more of an understanding of like what people are going through, and even if someone does something that's maybe not the nicest, that it can sometimes come from a place of trauma or being hurt, and that things are a bit more complex than we sometimes think. And also that regarding the course, for instance, this regarding, like me figuring this out with the brain and the three worlds and all of this, the history of consciousness course, for instance, it's also very much tied into this healing journey as well that I've been, going through to make sense of things, to really start to understand, I guess, like the human condition for myself, and to some degree, and then also for others, and then to, I guess, also create some sense of meaning regarding all of this that I've been through, and to turn it into something positive for the world. Hence that with both the podcast, but also the Foxen community, and a lot of the other things that I'm doing as well regarding the type of topics and all that I'm diving into. Very much with the sense of trying to empower others, and to help them on their own journeys. And a big aspect of mine really also has been to reconnect with the anima. See this painting here, just to use a painting to kind of, for me to remind myself of the anima in general, to talk about it. But it's a very important aspect too, and it was something that I was very struggling with to reconnect to, because it's also reconnecting in that sense to the specific emotions that are connected to it as well, to the grief and the loss that's connected to it, but also all these feelings of pain and suffering, and all these connected emotions to all of it. And part of that journey has been, to process it bit by bit, through, well, really the past 2 years. But even though, in 2013 and 2020 for me, it kind of was already coming up for me, and it's been quite the rough experience itself. But what it really showed me, at least, is that there really is this need to find that balance between, this fight or flight state, that I was in for a long time because of that, because of these things, because of, in a way you can say, because of the PTSD from it all that I had been through, and to really work my way up again towards more of the, I guess, the neocortex and the social, emotional, the limbic, to balance that again and to find that balance between the neocortex and that fight or flight state that I was struggling with through the limbic system, or symbolically the anima, and to reconnect with that to my emotional self, but also instinctual self, and to find that sense of inner safety again, and to re-empower myself to do that, and also with that, like I said, with the content and everything else that I'm doing in working towards, including the whole Curious Pack model that I was talking about, and in the project Windhorse, for instance, to help others as well on their journey, and to create that sense of community that, in some sense, I very much for my own reasons, really did not have, that emotional support that one really needs if one goes through such kind of things. And in that sense, the struggles of life itself. And part of that very much is also, you can see here the Discordibantes and the divine child care, and it's also very much about this rebirth of the divine child, so the self, and to get to that place. So a lot of that was not just reconnecting to my own inner aspects that had been pushed into the shadow, these shadow parts, but also to reconnect to all of these archetypal energies that you're seeing here, that are part of my own being, and meaningful for me personally. And a lot of that is also reflected in what I'm talking about, and expressing, and sharing regarding the kind of things that I've been doing and applying in my life, and then talking about, and a lot of the things that I'm talking about within the podcast are things that I've done myself before really sharing it with others. And that's kind of where all of this is kind of coming from. It's kind of coming from this place of suffering, but to transmute it into something positive, not just for myself, but also for others, and to provide others, but also remind myself of the tools that I've been using, and to create that sense of that sense of community, and that sense of togetherness, in a sense of this connection with all these archetypal energies, in some sense, but also with the people themselves as well, that are part of the Foxton community. You can see this kind of as the inner round table, but also it's the outer round table of the people in the community that that are interacting with each other, and And in that sense, it very much is kind of like a journey of shared like mutual growth and overcoming, and and if you're interested in joining the Fox 10 and this kind of vision of collaboration and working together towards creating this sense of community and support for those who don't readily have this kind of support, then I welcome you on board with it, and even if not with the Fox 10, to seek out that kind of support for yourself and to create that sense of community. Hence like the Choreospec model that I created, or even if that not, even if you do your own thing, it's just about finding that path forward. And and I do want to say it has not been the easiest journey for sure, to heal from all of this. It's been still kind of in its own way, like its own struggle, even to heal from all of this. But what I can say is that it is possible. It's possible to to reconnect with that inner essence within oneself. You can call it the inner child or divine child or the self, or however you wanna exactly frame that. But it's very much possible to do that and to reconnect, with the emotional self, the instinctual self, and and gain that sense of clarity, and from the more intellectual self back as well. Where the weight of the past doesn't weigh that heavily anymore on one. And what I can say is that sense of community is also very much important in that. And if you can't find that, like I did in 2020, it's like that. Finding that for yourself through therapy, or other means like online or offline is very crucial in that healing process from what I found. Because I've before that the kind of just didn't know how to reach out, and I know how that is. I was just struggling with the PTSD symptoms for 7 years, and didn't really reach out with it, and was just kind of dealing with it on my own, and then not really talking about it either. And it's difficult. It's difficult to open up about it, and and these things take time. They very much take time. And if you're going through something yourself and you're hearing this, it's okay, if it takes time. It healing in that sense can't be rushed. It's and gaining that awareness and to work through it is also something that takes time, and there's many layers to it, like many layers. And but in the end, one can heal, and one can turn this into something positive, not just for oneself, but for the world itself, and to bring in that sense also something towards the world. And that's also what we're in that sense, with these different perspectives, and what we're doing in the Fox and in the podcast as well are kind of doing. It's to free ourselves from the emotional burden of it all, and to work through it, and to work our way outside of the cave, to get outside of it, and you can kind of see it as part of the sense of shadow work that one is doing, and anima work as well, where you work through all of that. Because from what I know myself too, it's the trauma, but also PTSD and all these experiences really have an effect on the brain and like how you see things as well, because you don't really see the world as it is in a way. It's like one example would be like this one woman who was like just some worker at a supermarket that was like just talking to me, and my brain just picked it up as like she was being threatening and being or like that she was like raising her voice and yelling, and well, that was actually not the case, because people were just like reacting normally, and I kind of then at some point afterwards like realized like that that I was in this kind of hypervigilance state, and hence that my brain reacted like that. But in the moment, like, you don't really know any better, and it's very understandable that one would feel that way. And but it takes a lot of time and self-awareness, to get to that point where you can see it and to work through it. And there's a lot of effects with behaviors as well, like isolation, different coping mechanisms that one has, and all that. And yeah, but luckily one doesn't have to do it alone. You can find that sense of community. You can find that even if you even if you didn't have that, even if you don't have that, even if you're isolated and you don't have that space, with one's family, or like you can't go really towards anyone. There's still these people out there that can listen, that can try to hold that space. It's like, okay, sure, like people have their limits too, regarding things, because we're all just humans. But like when we come together in that sense and help each other, and that's kind of like the same thing in the thought. If we come together and help each other, we can make it out okay, and we can get to the other side. And then here's also like this flyer here about like Project Windhorse, and it's very much what I'm working towards with everything that I'm doing with the podcast. And it's very much informed due to my own journey, due to what I've been through in life, and to kind of create for others what I did not have myself, that I kind of ended up creating for myself, that sense of community, and and in that sense the community for others, and to kind of like build this template and this idea, and and connect people back to nature, and like these archetypal energies, and kind of like their authentic unburdened self that isn't burdened by all of these things. And it's not an easy process at all to go through to get to that point, but it's something that is very much possible. I've myself, like worked through a lot of these things. I mean, I used to not be able to really talk about these things at all, or be in any place to talk about it, let alone do a podcast or any of it. And it took me a long, time and practice to get to that place. To get to that place of being able to talk, hold conversations, to get out of that sense of isolation, and to get out of that sense of feeling alone with everything. And the very least, I hope regarding this story, and like what I've been talking about, I hope it can provide you, if you're going through something yourself, with like a story of hope and resilience, and that there is a way forward, and that this sense of community is possible, and that no matter what exactly you're going through, that there is a way forward, and that the human spirit is much stronger than we think. And we can make it through this. We can heal, and we can not just heal, but we can also start to slowly work towards thriving again, and work towards building something meaningful for not just ourselves, but also for others. And yeah, if you're going through anything yourself and you feel comfortable, you can share something about it in the comments. And I also encourage each other to support each other in the comments. And if you feel comfortable, you can also join the Fox Den, or look at any of the other videos that I'm doing, and then and I also offer help on Patreon, for people who want to reach out regarding these things as well. And then then there's the course as well that I've made and all that. And all these things are kind of like informed through what I've been through, but also from what other people have been through that are part of the Foxton as well. And it's kind of like all of us kind of transmuting this pain and suffering into something meaningful, into something that can do something good for the world. And with that said, for those who made it through the entire episode, I want to thank you all for listening, and maybe see you next time, either in the Fox Den, or or maybe on one of the podcast episodes. Who knows? Okay. Thank you.